Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Matt Rowley. I'm the Director of Athletic Communications here at the University of West Florida. Thanks for coming out today to our press conference to announce the inaugural signing class, the first signing day for the University of West Florida football team. A brief intro for the format today. We will bring Coach Pete Shinnick up to the front. He'll give some overall thoughts on the signing class, and then we'll open it up to questions from our media here in attendance. And that's pretty much it for that. Before we bring up Coach Shinnick, just some context for the history of football here at the university. It was back in 2011 that UWF President Dr. Bentz first announced the university's intention to add football. In 2013, she laid out the timeline for the team to start playing in 2016. That year, in 2013, the university also announced that it would play its home games at Maritime Park Stadium for the first 2 seasons at least. Coach Shinnick was hired just about a year ago, last January, and we had him here for a press conference in February of last year to introduce him to Pensacola. Since that point, the coaching staff has grown. A lot of our assistant coaches, all the assistant coaches are here today, and they have been hard at work to fill out this first recruiting class. So now we will bring up head coach Pete Shinnick.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And really, what a great day for the University of West Florida and the Argonaut family. We're very excited to be able to announce this class of 32 signees, and then also a group of walk-ons that are also admitted to the university. And I'll kind of explain that as we go through this process. But first, with this group, I got to thank my entire coaching staff for their hard work, evaluating talent, spending time in homes, visiting high schools, finding transcripts, learning about young men's backgrounds in order to find the right fit for the University of West Florida. We were looking for a special young man who could catch the vision of what we were going to do, what our future would be like, someone who didn't need to see a building, someone who didn't need to see exactly the field that they were going to play on, but have an idea of what all that would look like, still catch the vision and say, this is where I want to spend the next 5 years. We challenged each one of them to say, look, in 4.5 years, 5 years, we want you to see a degree with the University of West Florida's name on it hanging in your office. And so as we went out and tried to find the right fit for this university, very pleased to announce that, the average GPA for this group is 3.4 with an average cumulative ACT score of 22. So I believe these coaches have done a fantastic job finding that right fit. And so as we look at this list, really from Tuscaloosa down to Miami, we feel like we have done a great job surveying the student athletes that we evaluated, bringing them here and saying this is a great option for you. And for the next 5 years, we look forward to coaching these young men up. This was really a university and a community effort. Obviously, Dr. Benz's vision to bring football to this university started this process. Without her leadership and excitement and enthusiasm, we would not be here today doing this. So we're very thankful for her. Also, on our recruiting weekends, her and Dr. Saunders and Dr. Bailey were fantastic in representing the university and just their commitment to football and what it will be and what their future will be as student athletes here at the University of West Florida. This community, this university really welcomed our recruits when they came on campus and when they visited the area for the weekends, and did way more than we could ever ask just in their excitement and their enthusiasm as to what this program has the opportunity to be in the future. With that, obviously, we've got a wide variety of young men here, multiple positions. What we were trying to do was lay a great foundation for the future of this program. So every position, except we did not sign a kicker or a punter, which was strategic in this year. We're going to look for that next year as we move on and as we go through this process. But every other position is represented. And with that, we are building the foundation, what we think will be a great program in the Gulf South Conference and a great Division II football program for many years to come. With these 32 signees also come a commitment from about 30 to 35 other young men who have committed to walk on. You have a list of 11 down there, I believe, that are admitted to the university, and those are the ones only per NCAA rules that we can talk about. But we do have, if we were to start today and field the entire team, we do have over 70 young men on our roster. We have about 13 on campus right now. Obviously, we announced in December Blake McCall and Tyler Henderson, our first 2 transfers. And then with these 32 signees and the rest of the walk-ons and the group that we have on campus, we have a group of over 70 at this time. Our work's not done because we want to start fall 2015 in August. We want to have about 105, 110 young men to start, to be able to practice and to be able to get done what we need to. So we continue to recruit. We continue to look for the right fit. And we're going to continue to find young men that will represent this university in a first-class manner. With that, would love to answer any questions that you all might have.
What's next now as far as construction of the facilities?
We will have a groundbreaking ceremony at some point in time this spring. I believe we're going to announce some details about that here in the future. And so that has all been very exciting for us to be able to sell that that is coming and that is taking place. So I think we'll outline those details here at a later date for you.
Coach, you know, obviously built up the Pembroke program too. We talk about using your experience from that, you know, being there to building this program out here.
Well, I'll tell you, the foresight and the vision of Dr. Benz and Dave Scott to be able to start this process, the fact that I was hired or started on campus almost a year ago really has helped us in this process. If everything was on the same timeline at UNC Pembroke, I got hired basically in January at UNC Pembroke. So to be here this entire year, to be able to hire Coach Sagne and Coach Deese in May, to have them go out and visit, you know, multiple high schools across this state in Alabama, and then be able to hire Coach Sanders and Coach Williams and Coach Crutch in December and deploy them out. That's why this class is so big. To give you an idea where we were at UNC Pembroke at this time, we signed 2 on signing day. Okay, and then we signed about 8 to 10 more later in the spring. So for us to announce a class of 32 where we competed against other institutions, these guys had multiple options. They came here, they fell in love with this place, they saw themselves getting a degree from here. We feel like we're much further along than we were 9 years ago when we did this at UNC Pembroke.
Was part of the recruiting pitch a chance for them to make history?
Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. Who's ever a part of this first group is a part of history. This group right here, this group had a tremendous amount of vision to see something that isn't in place right now. They had to take a step of faith, but in doing that, there is a reward of being the first ever, being a part of the foundation, being the first one ever to say that I am a football player at the University of West Florida. That goes into the first game. That goes into the first season. So yeah, most definitely. Well, number one, they've got to be a great student. They've got to be able to fit, you know, what this university demands and what this university expects. And so we're looking for a great student. Then we're looking for a great young man that's going to represent us both on and off the field in a manner that every coach and every parent would be proud of. And, you know, our coaches do a great job of background check, talking to different people, whether it's the high school counselor. We go into a town and we get there and we're going into a home visit and we stop at a gas station. We'll ask them, do you know this person? What do you know of him? When we're on the sidelines watching a game, what can you tell us about him? What type of person is he? We do a tremendous amount of background check on that. And then obviously if they can't play football, we're not going to recruit them. So they've got to be great football players. I tell young men all the time, I said, look, we think you're a first-class person. We think you're a first-class student. That's why we're here. But I'm not going to every young man and girl in your high school recruiting them to come to the University of West Florida. We've got an admissions department that does that. We're here to find the best football player that we can that also meets the standards of the type of person and the type of student we're looking for.
Could you talk a little bit about working with the Gulf South Conference and getting everything organized? Have they been giving you any assistance or advice or anything like that?
As far as
starting the program and getting all the ducks in a row?
Well, our administration, Dave Scott, Megan Barter, they're really the ones who work with the office, give me the direction, and the guideline is to go with that. I think we've been, pretty well set up, and that's run smoothly as far as getting our ducks in the row as far as that's concerned. The Gulf South Conference, obviously, the toughest football conference, I think, in Division II football. The fact that 4 teams from our conference made it to the playoffs last year. 24 teams in Division II make the playoffs. Our conference had 4. We knew that when we were recruiting a young man to this university to play in that conference, that we had to have someone who could be very competitive quickly. And I think if you were to go online and take a look at these highlight films of the young men that we're bringing here, you're going to see a group that can be very competitive in the Gulf South Conference.
The recruiting area you have to go off of, in Florida and Alabama, they talk about that job and, to make the job easier to go and find kids because of, the area you have and talent out there.
There are a lot of very good high school players in the areas that we're recruiting, obviously. And that makes it fun because it gives our coaches an opportunity to go into a lot of different high schools, evaluate numerous players, and then really us be very selective in who we want to bring to this campus and who we want to recruit. So we're very pleased with, the type of students that we're finding, the type of people that we're finding, along with the athletic ability that goes along with that. And there's a reason that pretty much every university recruits the state of Florida. We did a roster check of Division I teams, Division FCS teams, and Division II teams. And there were over 700 young men from the state of Florida that were on Division II rosters across the country. There were over 900 young men that were on FCS rosters. There were over 1,000 young men that were on FBS rosters from the state of Florida. We ran into every school imaginable on the recruiting trail. And so, I like the group that we've put together and the group that's chosen to be a part of what we're doing.
Pete, one of the things that stands out is you were able to go into you touched every metro area in the state of Florida. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, Jacksonville. You touched into Tampa. Now, I think your coaches hadn't been in these places before. So, what did it say to be able to pull kids out of those areas and get them to come here when a couple of years ago they might have never heard of UWF?
Well, no, a lot of them hadn't heard of it until one of my coaches showed up and went there. They didn't know that we were starting football. And so here's what I think that speaks to. Number one, I've hired a great coaching staff, great men of character who can walk in, and that when that coach meets him, he automatically knows that this is a guy of character and somebody that they can trust and would be a great person for their future student athlete, or their current student athlete to come and be a part of a program that would hire somebody like that. So I've got great assistant coaches who represent our university well. Number two, once they learn about the University of West Florida, once they learn about all that's going on and the vision that Dr. Benz has for this university, then, that in and of itself is a great selling point. The fact that we're in Pensacola, Florida, also really helps a lot as well. So I think it speaks volume to the coaches that I have working for me, because they started from ground zero, creating an excitement and also selling a vision to that high school coach, which then in turn went to the young man that we were trying to recruit.
And how big of a foundation you think that's laid in the future? Because now you go back into these areas, and these coaches of these schools are going to know who you are and the program.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, as excited as we are about what we've been able to do here, it's going to be even better as we go along. I mean, we've talked about that as a lot as a staff. Okay, starting to figure out how this high school coach communicates, how this coach works, what this coach looks for, and what he talks about. As great as we feel about this signing class right here, the future is extremely bright. And the excitement is very high for the University of West Florida and our football program based on what we've been able to do in just the short time that we've been here.
Let's talk about, obviously these guys are going to get to practice this fall. I mean, not be able to play real games, so I mean, kind of what you focus on in practice. How about what you try to focus on in practice with all of these guys?
Yeah, the main thing we're trying to do is get this team ready so that by the end of November, when the season ends, even though we're not playing games, but the D2 season ends, we want to get them to where they are starters in the Gulf South Conference, not starters at the University of West Florida. Okay? You could be a starter at the University of West Florida but not be good enough to be a starter in the Gulf South Conference. Our challenge as coaches is to continue to develop and continue to find the strengths and weaknesses of each one of these young men, build upon their strengths, develop their weaknesses, so that when we get done next November, we have a group that's confident, or that we're confident that can play in the Gulf South Conference. We've obviously got a lot of work to do, but this group gives us a great foundation to get that accomplished.
Will part of that work in the fall involve live scrimmages?
Most definitely. Most definitely, and we are working on what that schedule will look like, when we'll do that. We're going to report about a week before school starts to get used to housing our players on campus before school starts, because we'll do it a lot earlier the next year, working with our cafeteria. And then we will basically do everything like we're preparing for a first game, but it'll obviously be a scrimmage. And we will only scrimmage, ourselves. Everything will be an inter-squad scrimmage in 2014. We've got about 5 or 6 of them mapped out. Some of them will be open to the public. Some of them we'll just do as part of our regular practice schedule.
At your introductory press conference about a year ago, you mentioned that as far as what scheme you might run on offense or defense would be predicated by the coordinators that you brought in and the control that you vested in them. And you have some familiarity with some of your coaching staff. So as far as this recruiting class, what kind of personnel, what can you tell us about filling the roles and the type of schemes that it looks like the Argonauts are headed for?
Sure, I think offensively you're going to see us very similar to what we did at UNC Pembroke. And obviously it's predicated a little bit by the quarterback that you have, and we recruited 3 very talented quarterbacks. I think that's going to be tremendous competition at that position. But we were a spread offense that played up-tempo football and spread the ball around. We've got really good running backs in this group, really good offensive linemen. I think when you look at the height and weight of our offensive linemen, you get a feel of the size of a Division II offensive line. We're not in any stretch a big Division II offensive line. This is what Division II offensive lines look like. Defensively, when we hired Coach Sanders to be our defensive coordinator, we're going to be an odd front. So obviously you see a few linebackers on here because we're going to have 4 of those in the rotation, and we're going to be an attacking defense, with that odd front. So we recruited specifically to meet those needs, and very excited about the young men that we have right now on paper to be able to build that type of offense and defense.
Any more questions for Coach Shinnick?
Thank you all very much.
All right, thanks again for coming out today for our media in attendance. If you do have any interest in any one-on-one interviews with our coaching staff afterwards, please let our staff know and we'll do the best to accommodate you. For everyone in the room, we invite you to come join us at Seville Quarter tonight. That event starts at 5:30 in Phineas Fogg's, where we will have a celebration of the first football signing class at the university. Thank you, and we'll see you tonight.